Hi there, welcome to my animation channel. Thanks very much for joining me again. I've had some requests over the past couple of months as to how I created these waves that are on the scene in my Animating with OpenToonz course. So just as a teaser, I'm dropping in one of the videos. There's several videos on this process, but here's the first, and it will give you a very good idea of what went into creating these waves. Okay, enjoy. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to set some reference for it. What I want is the basic rolling motion. These waves are going to be rolling from left to right. The wind's blowing from left to right. So we're going to create a reference and then we're going to animate off that. Let's create a new column here for our reference. Click on column 12 and click insert before, and it inserts a new column. Let's make it a Toonz vector level. I clicked apply instead of OK. Let's just click OK and then go delete that. And let's scroll down to the bottom, right click and select fill in empty cells, and it will fill that in. So we've got 120 cells in column 23 now, and let us go and do something with this. Let's turn the opacity. Let's go to the wave 1 column and just select the opacity and turn it down to 50%. And then you know what? This will probably be easier to draw with rasters. So let's go and create a raster level. So again, we go and click the column 24 and we right click it and we can insert before. Click that. Again, it inserts an empty column. We go click on the first cell, right click, and we can again go down to new level, select that, and this one is going to be a Toonz raster level, so it's got that selected. We apply, and there it is there. We go down to 120 again, frame 120, right click, fill in empty cells again, and there is our column 24, which is our raster. So we probably won't even use that vector column 23, now that we have this raster sorted. The first thing we need to do to this raster is to increase the size of it. There, the white rectangle represents the current size, so we need to increase that. So we know how to do that by now. We go and select the first cell of that raster. We right click, and right down at the bottom there's canvas size. We go and select that, and let's go and change that to 2500 on the wide. Select that, okay. That's not going to be wide enough, so let's go back and let's make that 5000 and click resize, and that's looking much better. So we got a nice wide raster frame now that covers our whole wave, which is how we want it. So now let's just go and see what we're trying to achieve here. We trace this wave and then we can move the frame around, and that's probably what we wanted to be doing, is coming down like that. We probably need it a bit deeper, so let's go back to adjust that canvas size. Again, click on the frame, right click, scroll down to canvas size, select that, and let's go make that height 1500, apply, and that's probably going to work better. So let's just go rub out this line that we've created here, and let's start again. I'm thinking more a sine curve like you'll have in maths at school. Let's go and create something more like that. Quite difficult to draw when you want to draw it. Let's just try again. Yeah, something like that. And then what we want to do is move it from the left to the right. So let's go and frame 1, let's go and with the animate button in the position selection, let's go and put it to the left, and then right at the bottom there at 120, let's go and put it in the center. And then what we want to do is we want to create a loop here. So let's go and put our onion skin on, and we want to see what the position of the right hand side of the wave looks like at frame 1, because that'll be the beginning of the next loop. So we're going to put the onion skin on frame 1, and then we can put the end of this animation to be the beginning of the next loop. So 120 should match up with 1, and then when we play it out, it'll be a loop. Remember, this is just a reference we're setting up, but you'll see how this helps us shortly. And let's just go and select the opacity of this reference and turn it down. Let's go put it down at 30 or so. So it drops back, And the wave as well, we can bring it back up, bring it back to 100. And let's just zoom in here. And now we're ready to start animating the actual wave. So how we're going to do this is we're going to put it into plastic. We're going to apply plastic on the wave, and then we're going to create a bones skeleton over it and animate it that way. I tried several other ways to do it, and it was quite challenging, so this I found was the most effective way to do it. So let's go and select the wave, go down to the plastic button on the toolbar down at the bottom there, fifth from the bottom, select that, go up to the create mesh on the top bar there, select it, and then the box, you can see the mesh applied on the window, and we can go and change a few of these. We probably don't need all this mesh. It currently is set at 5 millimeters for the mesh edge length. Let's make it 10, and let's leave the mesh margin at 5, and we'll just click apply, and there's our mesh applied to the wave. And you can see on the X sheet on the right, it has created a column for that mesh. It's wave 1 underscore mesh. It's in purple, and it's just got the frame 1. So we want to run that all the way down to frame 120. So we just go down to 120. We select in that column at the 120 frame, right click, and we go and we fill in empty cells, and that'll fill that with purple. So our mesh is applied all the way down. And then with the plastic still selected, let's go and change the mode to build skeleton. We want to build a skeleton for this now. We start with the ridge, let's put it in the middle, and we can put a few vertices off to the left and the right, come back to the middle and create one on the right, and then we can go and let's put in 5 branches off this. So we just keep selecting on that arm of the skeleton on the bone, and it will create a new node, and we can just create arms off this. So let's do 5 on the left, 5 on the right. We're trying to pick up the top of these waves. They're not all going to line up nice and neatly. There are waves after all. So that's looking good for now. Let's go and put the mode into animate. And let's go and animate some of this. So how we want to do this is we want to match our reference, that sine wave that we created earlier, our little sine wave moving from left to right. We want to match this mesh to move with that. So we can start, you can see on the left there of the wave, that's the start of the new wave. So let's move that up. Let's move those nodes up there just to fill that, and we can bring the end one down a bit. And that is our frame 1. Let's click to frame 12, and you'll see that sine wave is moving from the left to the right. It's moved along a bit. So let's just go and adjust the nodes in this mesh, pull them down, and then we jump to another 12 frames or half a second to 24, and we do the same. You can see that sine wave is moving across, and we just keep doing this all the way across. Now here in the middle, we're going to have to do something differently because it's a bit stuck there that we can't move that node up. So we go up to the button that's selected keep distance, and that basically means that it keeps the distance between the nodes so these things won't stretch. Let's go and take that selection off so we can stretch them just for those vertices in the middle, and we just go and pull up vertex 14 in the middle there, and we can pull down 13, and then we can adjust the rest, and then go put that keep distance on again. I like keeping it selected because it keeps everything quite neat, but now and then I take it off if I need to do stuff like this. We take it off again for the next frame, and we keep moving through the wave like this. We can also use our onion skin. Let's just go put 12 frames ahead at frame 36 so we can see how the wave was set then. Okay, I can see on the right here we're going to have to do a bit of work on that because that's not looking like it should. But for now, let's just follow the wave coming in from the left, that sine wave. Go and adjust these on the left, just toggle forwards and backwards. Okay, that's looking. Let's go to frame 60 and continue with this. Again, take the keep distance box out, uncheck it so that this one in the middle is really stretched, and then we just adjust the other nodes off that. You can see here I'm toggling between keep distance on and off. As I say, I like keeping it on because it keeps it a little bit more controlled. Otherwise the stuff can get very spongy. But I take it off whenever I need to. Move the wave down. Okay, we're at frame 84 and this wave is moving. Let's just play it out. Okay, we're probably a little bit past halfway. Let's just go work at this. Yeah, okay, so there's some ugly pinches in the middle of this wave, and that's because the root is too high. Let's just go and save this. And then the one thing that I don't like is that the bottom of this wave is getting pulled up quite a bit. So let's go and back to our build skeleton. Let's go and select that, and let's go and put some more nodes down on the bottom of this wave and try and stretch it down a little bit in the bottom so that it's a little bit wider on the bottom. There's an extra vertex on the end there that I missed. Let's go and delete that. Let's go and move that root node down. It shouldn't really be in the actual mesh. It should be out of the mesh. It works better like that. And that'll take that pinch out. So let's play that through, and that's looking better. Still needs a bit of adjustment at the end here. Frame 108. Yeah, it's looking okay. There's still a bit of a slap at the end here. Not really happy with that. Let's just take the mesh visibility out and let's just have a look at the wave. And play that out. Okay, still got a bit of a slap at the end there. Let's go and copy this wave and just put it in front of the current wave and see if we can mask out the bottom part there that's showing, because we're going to have to do that in the scene anyway. So let's go copy this whole column, select it, copy it, right click, paste insert before, and that's pasted it. And let us go and just move it with the animate position on. We just move it down a bit, and then let us go and put the scale on, and let us go and flip it on the horizontal. We want it to be facing the other way so that we don't get that mirrored image. So let's go and put a minus on the horizontal scale, and that will flip it on the horizontal like that. And then let's play this out and see how that looks. Let's also go and increase the scale. Use a global scale here, so it's increasing the scale of the whole thing, not on the X or the Y, the height or the horizontal or the vertical. And then let's go and turn down the opacity of our back wave. And our new wave in column 25, let's go and apply mesh to this one. So we select it with the plastic on, we go up to apply mesh, top left button. It's remembered our setting of the mesh edges length at 10. So we can just apply that, and it applies the mesh to our new wave. And let's go put the position key on, and this is really going to stand on its own here. It's just going to be the front. We just want a slight bit of movement. It's basically going to be a blocking wave. So let's go and create the same skeleton that we had, and what we've done is we've copied the sine wave as well, so it's got its own sine wave, and we've moved the sine wave a little further along so it's not going to be coinciding with our original wave at the back there. So you can see we've got two sine waves, and the second one is just for this front wave. And let's do the same as we did for the first wave. Every 12 frames we can put in a key, and we just go and adjust the plastic using the skeleton, using the nodes in the skeleton. So pretty much what we did with the first wave, we're doing for the second wave, and we can continue this through the whole set. So let's go copy that sine wave column again, copy it and paste it, and then we can just turn everything else off and just have our sine waves so that we can see how they're moving. We don't want them all to be moving on top of each other, just space them out. And then we can go do the same thing for our next wave, go and create a mesh for it, go and create a skeleton for it, exactly as we've done for the previous two, and we can do this for the whole set. Alternatively, what you can do is just do it once, and then you could drop it into a subsheet, and you could use subsheets instead of recreating these waves. But the way I've chosen to do it is to create a whole set of waves here. There's probably going to be about 5 waves, 4 or 5 waves. Then we're going to collapse it into a sub-X sheet, and then we're going to go and create multiples of that. So that's the way we're doing this, but if you want to do it a quicker way, then just animate the wave once, and then you can collapse it into a sub-X sheet and go and copy the sub-X sheet. So that's another way to do it. We're just going to do it a bit longhand here. So we can go and copy the sine wave and also adjust the width of the actual frame. And then we can paste the sine wave and move it around to extend the original sine wave. So that in effect, we're making this a lot longer. So we're getting the beginning and the end of the wave, because with the original sine wave reference we're using, it kind of just started from the left. But that's why we had that slapping bit at the end of the wave on the right, because we didn't have the reference for that. So that we can extend that, and once we've done it once, we can just copy that longer reference over to the other waves. So we've done a few waves here. They're all separate. Another thing about not collapsing them now into sub-X sheets and just copying it is that they're all going to be slightly different. So because we're doing each one separately, they're going to be slightly different. And the one thing you don't want with this is you don't want it to look very mechanical and morphed or copied. So it's probably worthwhile doing each one separately, but we're not going to do all the waves. We are going to collapse this shortly, and then we will multiply using sub-X sheets. So let's go turn our meshes off and turn the waves back on in the visibility mode there of each column. Let's put our viewer into camera mode so we see how it's looking, and let's play it out. And that's what we have so far. We'll continue this in the next video.